Now that we understand what the slope is, we can use that to help create equations of the line. So a linear equation is an equation when graphed creates a straight line. So a straight line like this. Now here are some examples. Y equals negative x plus 5, y equals 1/2 x plus 2. Both of these are linear equations simply because when we graph their solutions are ordered pairs x, y. Right? All those points on the line would be solutions. Now, as you look at these, how do you know they're linear? Well, the largest exponent on either variable is just 1. That is why it is a linear. If you increase that exponent on the x to a 2, then it would turn into a quadratic. And we'll talk about quadratics a little bit more. Increase it to a 3, it's a cubic, and so on and so forth. So all you're looking at is there's no exponents on here, so it is a linear equation. Now, the most important and commonly used type of form of a linear equation is a slope-intercept form. And why is it called slope-intercept? Because it gives you the slope and the intercept. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so basically he's our superstar. Y equals mx plus b. He's our go-to guy here. And we love him. Why do we love him? Because the number in front of x will give you the slope, and the number that you're adding or subtracting here will give you the y-intercept. And you can use that to actually graph and pick out some information from that linear equation. But before we do that, we want to actually use information and create this equation for the line so that we can graph it and we can look at different things to do with this line. So to find the equation of a line, to come up with it yourself, you're going to need the slope and the y-intercept of that line. So how do we figure this out? Well, we're going to just go through and use the information to find the slope and what we already know, use those formulas we just discussed, and then usually they'll give you the y-intercept or we'll have to solve for the y-intercept. Just plug that information into m and b, and you've got your linear equation. Just as a reminder, the y-intercept is where that line crosses the y-axis. So here's the y-axis straight up and down, and then your line, where does it cross that y-axis? Okay, so it says find the equation of the line that has a slope of negative 1/2 and goes through the point for negative 1. Now, what do we know? We know that the slope is negative 1/2, so we know m. Do we know what b is? Do we know what the y-intercept is? This is not the y-intercept. How do I know that? How do I know that? Because to be the y-intercept, is the graph, right? Let's say you have a line and it crosses here. Here would be the y-intercept. The y-intercept always has 0 for the x, because you're not going right or left, and then it has that y value as the second letter. Since your x is not 0 here, that means negative 1 is not your y-intercept. It's just another point for negative 1. It's going to be off. It's not going to be on either axis. So we aren't given the y-intercept, but we can solve for it. We can figure it out. We have the ability. So you always want to start with your slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Plug in what you know. What do we know? We know that m is negative 1/2, and we know that this point, which is x and y, is on that line. So we could actually plug in all this information. So y would be negative 1, m would be negative 1/2, x would be 4, and then we have b hanging over here. We don't know what b is. We don't know the y-intercept. But we can solve for it. We have all the rest of the information. So let's simplify. Negative 1/2 times 4 is negative 2. Add 2 to the other side. That gives you 1 equals b. So now we know the y-intercept. The y-intercept is 1. So what we can do is we can go back Remember, you're trying to replace your m and your b in the slope-intercept form. So now that we know our m and our b, we can just plug in the information, -1/2 x, and b is 1. And that's going to give us the equation of the line. Note that your final equation of the line should leave the variables x and y in there. Please make sure these are present because this represents all the different points that could be on the line. Your m and your b are the only variables that you're replacing. Okay, so give that a go. Let's try one more problem. This time, though, they give us 2 points and they don't give us the slope to start off with. Just 2 points. We know we need the slope and the y-intercept. We don't know the slope. Neither of these indicate the y-intercept because the first point is not, the first x-coordinate is not 0. So neither of these are the y-intercept. So how are we going to figure out the slope given 2 points? Well, we just talked about that. We can go ahead and use that formula. M equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So let's go ahead and plug that in. If you want to, again, you could label your points. x2, y2. Remember, I just labeled them this way because this is our first point and this is our second point. That's all it is. So y2 would be -6 minus y1, -2. x2 is -4 minus x1 is 5. 2 negatives turn into that positive. -6 plus 2 is -4. This would be -9. The 2 negatives turn into a positive because you're dividing the 2 negatives. So this is actually positive 4/9. Sorry I couldn't give you a better slope. It's pretty nasty slope. That's okay. So we have the slope now. How are we going to figure out our y-intercept? Well, what we can do to figure out the y-intercept is just choose one of those points. Which point do you want to use? Let's go ahead and just use this point. Plug in the information into our y equals mx plus b and solve for b. So y would be -2, m would be 4/9, x is 5, and b we don't know. Now you could have used the other points. Just don't mix and match, okay? They have to come from the same points. Your x and y has to come from the same point. Otherwise, you won't get the correct b. -2 equals, multiply this is 20/9, just the top, right? 4 times 5 is 20. Yay! Subtract 20/9 from both sides. A little fraction work here. I knew you were missing the fractions. So we have -2 minus 29. So over on the side, I'm just going to have to rewrite this. So -2 turns into -2 over 1. Got to multiply this first fraction by 9 over 9. So that turns into -18 over 9. I should have picked a nicer number. Keep the denominator when you're adding or subtracting and subtract the top. -18 minus 20 is -38/9. Ooh, that is a nasty number, but that's okay. We found our b! Yay! After all that, we found our b. So we're going to put together our b and our m and just plug it into y equals mx plus b. So this is y equals m is 4/9. And b is -38/9. Boom! Done and done. So you have your equation of the line. Now you could go ahead and use Geogebra as well. I'm going to show you just using this problem just to demonstrate. All you've got to do is plot your points. So we have 5, -2. So again, grab our point, 5, -2. And the other point was -4, -6. -4, -6. Connect those lines. So I'm using the line tool here. Click on the 2 points. Remember, if that line tool isn't showing up, just click the down arrow and select line. And you'll notice here it's given to you in what we call standard form, where the x and y are on the left and your constant is on the right. If you right click, just go to equation y equals mx plus b, so that'll put that into slope-intercept form. Y equals 0.44x minus 4.22, which you might be like, is that the same as what we got? If we look here, 4/9, plug it into your calculator. 4/9, you bet, is 0.44, and 38/9 looks like 4.22. Yay! We did it correctly. So I'm just trying to show you a way to check your work to make sure that when you turn it in, you're feeling super confident and you got it. So don't be afraid to take that extra couple minutes to use this program to double check. It's a great, great tool. I love it. So give that a go.